Now, what is important to note about this experience, especially given all of the other beings, okay, you need to recognize, is that the arrival of the people into the area that will become the present-day United States Southwest is constant. It is continuous during the 17th century, the 18th century, the 19th century. It's constant to this day. This is what Americans need to understand. Now, the basic work activities included the following divisions, and so recognize this is what Mexicans are going to be fulfilling with regards to economic expansion and development. The basic divisions are agriculture. You need to feed populations. Livestock raising, livestock husbandry. Artisan production. Mining. And transportation. The transportation industry, the connecting of markets. Now, agricultural work was the most basic. So when we summarize the migration experience of the Mexican in the colonial era, let's appreciate that the move to the north, there was a mission trading center that was linked to a mercantile economy that developed in central Mexico. As the system moved north, a nascent capital formation developed with rising mining, livestock, and commercial agricultural units. Eventually, the development of distinct cultural expressions based on aridity and environmental features appeared, and the majority became involved in subsistence and bartering economies, moving in and out of a developing regional economic infrastructure. This movement of populations continues to this day. Now, when we take a look at the 19th century history of Mexicans, it is one that's filled with violence. Mexicans in Mexico will not know peace between 1810 and 1920. Mexican independence, the Alamo, the Texas Question, the annexation, the U.S. war with Mexico, the French occupation, the movement to oust the French, the dictatorship of Porfirio Diaz, known as the Porfiriato, the Mexican Revolution. So between 1810 to 1920, over 100 years, Mexico and Mexicans will experience calamities, setbacks, intense struggles, and most importantly, tremendous territorial loss. So Mexican history is incredible given the adversity. Every struggle reveals the dance of good against evil, of anti-democratic forces pitted against progressive reform, of the eagle devouring the snake perched on a cactus. So on September 16th, if we take a look at Mexica, I guess put it on the side camera there, you can understand the significance of Mexica. If we take a look at this term, Mexica, on September 16th, Mexicans celebrate a national holiday. They're going to be identified as Mexican. Not going to be identified as Hispanics. They're going to take the term Mexica and make it as part of their nation because they're going to appreciate the native contribution. In 2010, Mexicans in both Mexico and the United States celebrated the bicentennial of the independence movement. Let's take a look at a film clip from the government-sponsored documentary that prepared Chicanos and Mexicanas for the celebration.
It all began with a call, with Miguel Hidalgo y Costilla urging on the people of New Spain to fight for their independence.
But history unfolds for a reason. Several events in Europe and America lead up to Father Hidalgo's call.
The winds of freedom are sweeping through the world. A war of independence is being fought in the United States to free itself of England. And the French Revolution seeks to cast off the tyranny of the king. These wars reaffirm the right of all people to fight for their freedom, for equality, and the right to elect their own governments. In 1808, Napoleon Bonaparte invades Spain and takes Charles IV and King Ferdinand VII as prisoners. This unleashes a war against the French and brings instability to the Spanish colonies.
At this time, New Spain is the Spanish Empire's most prosperous territory, but its wealth benefits the Spanish crown more than it benefits the colony itself, which angers those who live there.
Several clandestine groups formed to begin the independence movement. One of these conspiracies sets off the war. The meetings of Miguel Hidalgo, Ignacio Allende, Juan Aldama, and Josefa Ortiz de Dominguez in Querétaro are discovered.
Hidalgo goes to the church in the town of Dolores and calls on the people to overthrow the government of New Spain.
With a standard of the Virgin of Guadalupe as their flag, the rebels win their first victories over the troops loyal to the king, which are defeated in the bloody battle at the public granary, the Alhóndiga de Granaditas in Guanajuato.
The rebels are unstoppable on their march to Mexico City, but after the Battle of Monte de las Cruces on the outskirts of the capital, Hidalgo decides to retreat despite his victory there. The independence forces occupy Guadalajara. There, they try to organize a government. They start a newspaper, El Despertador Americano, and they proclaim the abolition of slavery.
But Royalist forces under the command of Felix Maria Calleja follow in close pursuit. The two armies engage in combat outside of Guadalajara in the Battle of Calderon Bridge, where the rebels suffer their worst defeat. Fleeing north, Hidalgo, Allende, Mariano Jimenez, and Juan Aldama are ambushed and taken prisoners in Acatita de Bajan, Coahuila. Later, they are tried and executed in Chihuahua.
After the death of Hidalgo, another parish priest takes command, José María Morelos y Pavón. The high point of his military career is breaking the siege of Cuautla, where 7,000 of Calleja's troops had kept Morelos and 3,000 rebels under siege for 72 days.
In addition to his military genius, Morelos is a visionary who seeks to provide the new country with a political organization. He assembles the Congress of Anahuac and reads there a document entitled Sentiments of the Nation.
In Apatzingan, Congress adopts Mexico's first constitution, which establishes the country's political structure and a division of powers into the legislative, executive, and judicial branches.
But soon after, Morelos begins to lose his battles. In 1815, he is taken prisoner, tried, and executed.
In 1817, the independence movement was losing momentum when a liberal Spaniard, Javier Mina, gave it new impetus by arriving in Mexico with 300 men to fight with the rebels. After a bold campaign, he is trapped and shot in the back, accused of betraying his homeland.
An event in 1820 changes the course of history. Spanish King Ferdinand VII accepts a liberal constitution, which eliminates many of the political, economic, and social privileges enjoyed by the Spaniards living in the colonies. This accelerates the move towards independence in Mexico. Creoles, Spaniards, mestizos, the indigenous population, and other elements of society all fight for the same goal, although for different reasons. The War of Independence ends when Vicente Guerrero, the most well-known rebel, and Agustín de Iturbide, a Creole at the head of the Royalist army, seal a pact with the embrace of Acatempa. With the Plan of Iguala, or the Plan of the Three Guarantees, Iturbide proclaims the independence of Mexico. After 11 years of fighting and 3 centuries of domination by Spain, Mexico emerges as an independent nation.
History belongs to everyone. Bicentennial of Independence, Centennial of the Mexican Revolution.
Okay, so that video, that documentary was produced by the Mexican government in celebration of the 100 years of Mexican independence. But what's important to understand with regards to Mexican independence is what I'm sharing with you about Mexica, is that they decided to go to the native past and honor that instead of the Spanish. So the idea behind the Grito de Dolores was down with the Gachupin, down with the Hispanic. That identity no longer serves us very well. Mexican Mexica is what's most important. And so there were two very important figures in this movement for independence